Cats are mammals belonging to the species Felis catus. They have lived alongside humans for thousands of years, yet they have retained many behaviors of their wild ancestors. One of the most notable factual characteristics of cats is their ability to remain calm and still for long periods. Adult cats sleep or rest for an average of 12 to 16 hours per day, and some individuals may rest even longer. This is not laziness, it is a biological strategy. Cats are naturally crepuscular animals, meaning they are most active at dawn and dusk. Extended periods of rest allow their bodies to conserve energy for short moments of focused activity. A cat's presence often feels quiet because cats communicate efficiently and economically. Unlike many animals that rely on constant vocalization, cats primarily use body language. The position of their ears, tail, whiskers, and body posture conveys clear information without sound. When a cat is calm, its muscles are loose, its tail is still or gently curved, and its breathing is slow and regular. These physical signals are factual indicators of a relaxed nervous system. Cats have highly sensitive sensory systems, yet they naturally avoid overstimulation. Their hearing range is much wider than that of humans, allowing them to detect very soft sounds. Despite this sensitivity, cats instinctively seek environments with minimal noise. They often choose quiet rooms, elevated surfaces, or secluded corners where sensory input is reduced. This behavior is a survival trait that also results in an atmosphere of calm wherever the cat settles. Another factual reason cats seem soothing is their controlled movement. Cats move with precision and balance due to a flexible spine and a well-developed vestibular system in the inner ear. This allows them to walk smoothly, jump accurately, and land softly. Sudden, unnecessary movements are rare. Most actions are deliberate, slow, and energy efficient. Observing such movements naturally reduces visual chaos in an environment. Cats are also experts at regulating their body temperature. They often seek warm areas such as sunlit floors, blankets, or human laps. Warmth promotes muscle relaxation and slows the heart rate. When a cat rests in a warm spot, its body enters a state of deep physical ease. This is a factual physiological response, not a learned behavior. The cat's preference for warmth contributes to its stillness and extended rest periods. Socially, cats are capable of forming bonds without requiring constant interaction. Unlike pack animals, cats do not depend on continuous social signaling to feel secure. A cat can share space with a human or another animal without engaging directly and still experience a sense of safety. This ability to coexist quietly is one reason cats are often associated with peaceful environments. Breathing patterns in calm cats are slow and shallow. A resting cat typically breathes between 16 and 30 times per minute, often toward the lower end when fully relaxed. This steady rhythm is visible in the gentle rise and fall of the chest or abdomen. Such regular breathing is a clear physiological marker of relaxation and contributes to the perception of tranquility. Cats are also highly routine-oriented. They prefer consistent feeding times, familiar resting places, and predictable daily patterns. Routine reduces uncertainty, which in turn lowers stress hormones in the body. When a cat feels secure in its routine, it spends more time resting calmly and less time in alert or defensive states. Another factual aspect of a cat's calming presence is its independence. Cats do not demand constant attention to meet their emotional needs. This independence reduces environmental tension. There is no urgency in their behavior when their basic needs are met. Instead, their default state becomes one of quiet observation and rest. Finally, cats are attentive without being intrusive. They often observe their surroundings with half-closed eyes, a relaxed facial expression, and minimal movement. This state is sometimes called quiet alertness, where the cat is aware but not tense. It is a biologically efficient mode that allows the animal to remain safe while conserving energy. All of these traits, extended rest, controlled movement, sensory moderation, routine, warmth-seeking, and quiet awareness, are factual characteristics of cats. Together, they explain why the presence of a calm cat often feels grounding and peaceful, not because of emotion or symbolism, but because of observable biology and behavior. Purring is a distinctive vocalization produced by domestic cats and some other members of the feline family. It is created through a combination of neural signaling and muscular movement in the larynx. When a cat purrs, the muscles surrounding the vocal cords rhythmically contract and relax, causing the vocal cords to separate repeatedly during both inhalation and exhalation. This process produces a continuous, low-frequency sound. The frequency range of a cat's purr typically falls between 25 and 150 Hz. This range is notable because it overlaps with frequencies that, in physical systems, are associated with vibration and resonance. The purr is not produced by airflow alone. It is generated by the interaction between the brain's rhythmic signals and the mechanical movement of the laryngeal muscles. This makes purring a stable and energy-efficient sound that can be sustained for long periods. Cats purr most commonly when they are in a relaxed state, such as when resting, nursing, or being gently touched. In these situations, purring is associated with a low arousal physiological condition. Heart rate, muscle tension, and overall activity levels are reduced. This correlation between purring and relaxation is consistent across domestic cats regardless of breed. Purring is not limited to positive situations. Cats may also purr when injured, stressed, or recovering from illness. From a biological perspective, this suggests that purring is a self-regulatory mechanism rather than a simple expression of pleasure. The repetitive low-frequency vibration may help stabilize breathing and maintain calm during physical or emotional strain. From an anatomical standpoint, kittens begin purring within days of birth. This early development indicates that purring is an innate behavior rather than a learned one. Newborn kittens purr while nursing, which allows the mother to locate them and signals that the kitten is alive and feeding properly. At the same time, the mother cat purrs while nursing, creating a low-frequency acoustic environment that does not attract predators. The sound of purring is relatively quiet compared to other animal vocalizations. It lacks sharp peaks, sudden changes, or high-frequency elements. Acoustically, it is smooth and repetitive. These characteristics mean that purring does not trigger startle responses in nearby animals or humans. Instead, it blends into the background, contributing to a stable sound environment. A purring cat often exhibits synchronized physical signs of relaxation. These include slow blinking, relaxed jaw muscles, partially closed eyes, and a loose body posture. The tail is typically still, and the limbs are not tense. These observable behaviors provide objective indicators that purring is linked to a calm physiological state. Cats can control when they purr, but the behavior is also partially automatic. The neural oscillator in the brainstem that regulates purring can continue operating with minimal conscious input. This allows cats to purr while sleeping or drifting into light sleep. As a result, purring often accompanies rest rather than interrupting it. The consistency of purring also plays a role in how it is perceived. The sound maintains a steady rhythm with little variation in volume or pitch. Predictable auditory patterns are processed efficiently by the nervous system and require less cognitive attention. This predictability contributes to the perception of purring as non-threatening and easy to tolerate over time. In social contexts, purring functions as a signal of low risk. When a cat purrs in the presence of another animal or a human, it indicates that the cat does not perceive immediate danger. This can influence the behavior of those nearby, encouraging stillness and reducing defensive responses. Importantly, purring does not require active engagement from others. A cat can purr quietly while alone, resting, or sharing space without interaction. This makes purring a passive behavior that does not demand attention. It exists independently of external feedback. From a biological and behavioral perspective, purring is a multifunctional, low-energy, low-arousal vocalization. Its production relies on efficient muscular control. Its sound profile is acoustically smooth, and its behavioral context is closely linked to rest and regulation. These observable facts explain why purring is commonly associated with calm and relaxation, not as a symbolic quality, but as a direct result of how and when the sound is produced. Cats spend a large portion of their lives resting or sleeping. On average, adult domestic cats rest between 12 and 16 hours per day, while some individuals may rest up to 18 hours. This pattern is consistent across breeds and environments. The extended rest periods are a direct result of feline physiology and evolutionary history, rather than environmental comfort alone. Cats are classified as crepuscular animals, meaning their natural peaks of activity occur during dawn and dusk. In the wild, these times coincide with the movement patterns of small prey animals. To support short periods of intense activity, cats conserve energy through long intervals of rest. Even domestic cats that no longer hunt retain this biological rhythm. Sleep in cats occurs in cycles, similar to other mammals. These cycles include light sleep, deep sleep, and rapid eye movement, REM sleep. Light sleep allows cats to remain partially aware of their surroundings. During this phase, their ears may twitch in response to sounds, and their eyes may remain partially open. This state enables quick awakening if needed. Deep sleep typically occurs after a cat feels secure in its environment. During deep sleep, muscle tone decreases significantly, breathing becomes slow and regular, and the cat is less responsive to external stimuli. This phase is essential for physical recovery, tissue repair, and immune system support. REM sleep in cats is characterized by small muscle movements, twitching whiskers, and occasional paw or tail motion. Brain activity during REM sleep is elevated, similar to waking levels. This phase is associated with memory consolidation and neurological development. Kittens, in particular, spend a higher percentage of their sleep time in REM sleep, supporting rapid brain growth. Cats do not usually sleep for 8 continuous hours as humans do. Instead, they take multiple sleep periods throughout the day and night. These sleep episodes may range from a few minutes to several hours. This fragmented sleep pattern aligns with their natural activity cycles and allows flexibility in responding to environmental changes. Resting, which differs from sleep, is also a significant part of a cat's day. During rest, a cat may lie down with eyes closed or partially closed while remaining conscious. Resting conserves energy without fully disengaging awareness. This state is frequently observed in cats positioned in familiar, safe locations. The positions cats choose while resting provide factual information about their comfort level. A cat curled into a tight ball is conserving heat and protecting vital organs. A cat lying on its side or back with the belly exposed indicates a high level of environmental trust, as this position leaves vulnerable areas unprotected. Environmental factors strongly influence a cat's rest quality. Cats prefer quiet spaces with stable temperatures and minimal foot traffic. Elevated surfaces are commonly chosen because they provide a broader visual field while maintaining physical safety. These preferences are consistent with the behavior of solitary hunters. Temperature plays a measurable role in feline rest behavior. Cats have a higher thermoneutral zone than humans, typically between 30 and 38 degrees Celsius. When ambient temperatures fall below this range, cats seek warm surfaces or curl their bodies to reduce heat loss. Warmth supports muscle relaxation and longer rest periods. Cats also adjust their rest patterns based on age. Kittens and senior cats rest more than young adults. Kittens require additional sleep to support growth and neurological development. Older cats rest more due to reduced energy levels and slower metabolism. Hormonal regulation contributes to feline sleep behavior. Melatonin, a hormone associated with sleep cycles, is influenced by light exposure. Cats respond to changes in daylight, adjusting their activity and rest accordingly. This sensitivity to light helps synchronize their internal clocks with environmental conditions. Importantly, cats rest without guilt or cognitive resistance. Their nervous systems are adapted to shift smoothly between alertness and relaxation. There is no observable stress response associated with resting behavior when basic needs are met. This efficient transition between states reflects a well-regulated autonomic nervous system. All of these observations, sleep duration, sleep stages, resting positions, environmental preferences, temperature regulation, and hormonal influence, are measurable biological facts. Together, they explain why rest is not an occasional activity for cats, but a foundational element of their daily lives. Cats experience the world through highly developed sensory systems that differ significantly from those of humans. These sensory abilities are shaped by their evolutionary role as small, solitary predators. Each sense, hearing, vision, smell, touch, and balance, functions with precision. Yet cats instinctively manage sensory input in ways that prevent overload and conserve energy. Hearing is one of a cat's most sensitive senses. Cats can detect frequencies ranging from approximately 48 Hz up to 85,000 Hz, far exceeding the human range. This allows them to hear high-pitched sounds produced by small prey animals. Despite this sensitivity, cats do not seek constant auditory stimulation. They tend to choose environments with minimal background noise, reducing unnecessary sensory processing. The external ears of a cat are highly mobile, controlled by more than 30 muscles. Each ear can rotate independently, allowing precise sound localization without moving the head. When a cat is relaxed, the ears remain upright or slightly angled outward, indicating that no immediate threat is being monitored. This ear position reflects a low level of alertness. Vision in cats is adapted for low-light conditions. Cats have a high number of rod cells in their retinas, which are responsible for detecting movement and light intensity. They also possess a reflective layer behind the retina called the tapetum lucidum, which enhances night vision by reflecting light back through the retina. This structure causes the characteristic eye shine seen in cats under low light. Cats see fewer colors than humans but are highly sensitive to motion. Slow, steady movement is processed efficiently, while sudden motion triggers alertness. This sensitivity explains why cats respond calmly to still environments and become attentive only when movement occurs. A cat's sense of smell is approximately 14 times stronger than that of humans. The olfactory system plays a critical role in environmental assessment. Cats use scent to determine familiarity, safety, and social information. They also possess a specialized organ called the vomeronasal organ, or Jacobson's organ, which detects pheromones. This system allows cats to gather chemical information without continuous exploration. Cats rely on scent marking to create stable, recognizable environments. Facial glands, paw pads, and other scent-producing areas release pheromones when a cat rubs or scratches surfaces. These chemical markers help cats identify familiar spaces, reducing uncertainty and stress. Once an area is marked, cats are more likely to rest there. Touch is another essential sense, especially through the whiskers or vibrissae. Whiskers are deeply embedded in the skin and connected to a dense network of nerves. They detect subtle changes in air currents and nearby objects. Whiskers help cats navigate in low light and determine whether they can fit through narrow spaces. When a cat is calm, its whiskers are held loosely to the sides rather than pushed forward. The skin of a cat is also highly sensitive. Specialized nerve endings respond to light pressure, temperature, and vibration. This sensitivity allows cats to detect gentle environmental changes. However, prolonged or intense stimulation can be uncomfortable. As a result, Cats naturally limit physical contact and prefer brief, gentle touch. Balance and spatial orientation are regulated by the vestibular system in the inner ear. Cats have an exceptionally well-developed sense of balance, allowing them to land on their feet in many situations. This system also contributes to smooth, controlled movement. Efficient balance reduces the need for constant muscular tension, supporting relaxed postures. Cats process sensory information selectively. They do not continuously analyze every stimulus in their environment. Instead, they filter out repetitive, non-threatening input. This selective attention conserves mental energy and supports prolonged calm states. The sensory world of a cat is both rich and regulated. High sensitivity is paired with instinctive behaviors that limit exposure to unnecessary stimulation. By choosing quiet spaces, resting frequently, and responding only to meaningful changes, cats maintain sensory balance. These observable sensory traits explain how cats remain calm in environments that might feel overwhelming to more constantly stimulated species. Cats are known for their controlled, deliberate movements. This characteristic is a direct result of their skeletal structure, muscle composition, and neurological coordination. Unlike animals that rely on continuous motion, cats conserve energy by moving only when necessary and doing so with precision. The feline spine is highly flexible due to loosely connected vertebrae and elastic intervertebral discs. This flexibility allows cats to extend and contract their bodies smoothly while walking, running, or jumping. During normal movement, the spine acts like a spring, absorbing impact and minimizing abrupt motion. This structural feature contributes to the fluid appearance of a cat's gait. Cats walk using a direct registering gait, meaning the hind paw often steps into or near the spot where the front paw previously landed. This reduces noise and limits disturbance to the environment. This gait is inherited from wild ancestors that needed to approach prey silently. In domestic settings, this same movement pattern results in quiet, almost unnoticeable motion. Muscle fibers in cats are designed for short bursts of power rather than endurance. A high proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers allows cats to jump and sprint effectively, but these fibers fatigue quickly. As a result, cats naturally avoid unnecessary movement and rest frequently between activities. This energy-efficient strategy favors calm, still behavior over constant activity. The vestibular system in the inner ear plays a crucial role in movement control. It helps cats maintain balance and spatial orientation, even during complex actions such as jumping from heights or navigating narrow surfaces. Because balance is well regulated, cats do not need exaggerated corrective movements. Their motions remain smooth and measured. Cats also possess a highly developed proprioceptive system, which provides awareness of body position in space. Sensory receptors in muscles, joints, and tendons send continuous feedback to the brain. This allows cats to adjust posture instantly without conscious effort. Efficient proprioception reduces hesitation and unnecessary motion. When cats move, they distribute their weight carefully across their limbs. This controlled weight transfer minimizes impact on joints and reduces noise. The pads of a cat's feet contain soft, fibrous tissue that absorbs shock and muffles sound. This anatomical adaptation supports silent movement and physical stability. Cats rarely move in straight lines without purpose. Instead, they pause frequently to observe, assess, and plan. These pauses are not signs of indecision, but part of an efficient movement strategy. By stopping to gather information, cats reduce the likelihood of wasted energy or sudden reactions. Stretching is an integral part of feline movement. Cats stretch multiple times a day, often after resting. Stretching maintains muscle elasticity, joint mobility, and spinal alignment. These regular stretches prevent stiffness and allow smooth transitions between rest and activity. Slow movements are especially common when cats feel safe. In familiar environments, cats walk, turn, and lie down gradually. Rapid or erratic motion usually occurs only in response to perceived threats or during play. The absence of hurried movement is a reliable indicator of environmental comfort. Cats also use controlled movement to communicate. A slow tail movement, a gentle head turn, or a measured step backward conveys information without sound. These subtle physical signals reduce the need for vocalization and limit environmental stimulation. From a neurological perspective, cats have efficient motor control pathways that prioritize accuracy over speed. Their brains are wired to support precise motor output, reducing unnecessary muscular activation. This efficiency lowers metabolic demand and supports longer periods of rest. All these factors, flexible spine, efficient gait, specialized muscles, balance systems, shock-absorbing paws, and precise neural control, contribute to the characteristic slow and deliberate movement of cats. These movements are not stylistic or emotional. They are factual outcomes of feline anatomy and physiology designed to conserve energy, maintain stability, and minimize disturbance. Routine plays a central role in a cat's daily life. Domestic cats are highly sensitive to patterns in their environment, and consistent routines help regulate their physiological and behavioral responses. This reliance on routine is rooted in feline biology and survival mechanisms rather than preference or habit alone. Cats possess an internal circadian rhythm that governs cycles of activity, rest, feeding, and alertness. This biological clock is influenced by light exposure, temperature, and regular environmental cues. When daily events occur at predictable times, a cat's internal systems remain synchronized, reducing physiological stress. Feeding routines are one of the strongest stabilizing factors for cats. Regular feeding times help regulate digestive processes, insulin release, and energy levels. Cats anticipate meals based on routine, and deviations can lead to increased alertness or vocalization. Consistency allows the cat's body to prepare metabolically for food intake, supporting efficient digestion. Resting routines are equally important. Cats often choose the same locations for rest at similar times each day. These locations are selected based on safety, warmth, and familiarity. Repeated use of the same resting areas reinforces a sense of environmental stability. Familiar resting spots also carry the cat's scent, which further enhances comfort. Daily grooming is another routine behavior. Cats spend a significant amount of time grooming themselves, often following rest periods or meals. Grooming serves multiple functions: maintaining fur condition, regulating body temperature, and distributing natural oils. It also has a calming effect, as the repetitive motion stimulates nerve endings associated with relaxation. Environmental routines extend beyond the cat's direct actions. Household sounds, lighting patterns, and human activity schedules become part of the cat's expected environment. When these elements remain consistent, cats exhibit fewer stress-related behaviors. Sudden changes, such as rearranged furniture or altered schedules, may temporarily disrupt calm behavior. Cats rely on routine to assess safety. In predictable environments, cats can reduce vigilance because the likelihood of unexpected threats is low. Reduced vigilance allows more time to be spent resting or engaging in low-energy activities. This behavioral shift is observable in relaxed body posture and increased sleep duration. Litter box usage also follows routine. Cats prefer clean, familiar locations for elimination and tend to use the litter box at similar times each day. Predictability in this routine supports both physical health and behavioral stability. Play behavior, when present, often occurs at consistent times, frequently aligning with natural activity peaks at dawn or dusk. Regular play periods allow cats to express predatory instincts without excessive arousal. After play, cats typically return to rest, completing a balanced activity rest cycle. Age influences the rigidity of routine. Kittens adapt more quickly to changes, while adult and senior cats rely more heavily on established patterns. Older cats, in particular, benefit from stable routines that reduce cognitive and physical strain. Hormonal regulation is closely linked to routine. Stress hormones such as cortisol remain lower when environmental events are predictable. Conversely, frequent disruptions can elevate stress markers, even if no direct threat is present. Routine also affects social interactions. Cats that live with humans or other animals learn interaction patterns, such as greeting behaviors or quiet co-presence. These predictable interactions reduce uncertainty and promote calm coexistence. Importantly, routines allow cats to conserve mental energy. When outcomes are predictable, less cognitive processing is required to assess each situation. This efficiency supports the cat's natural tendency toward extended rest and low arousal states. In summary, routine is not a superficial preference for cats, but a fundamental stabilizing mechanism. Through consistent feeding, resting, grooming, elimination, and environmental patterns, cats maintain physiological balance and behavioral calm. These facts explain why routine is essential to a cat's sense of safety and overall well-being. Cats have a strong instinct to seek spaces that provide physical safety and environmental control. This behavior is rooted in their evolutionary history as small, solitary predators that are also potential prey for larger animals. Safe spaces allow cats to rest, observe, and regulate stress without the need for constant vigilance. A safe space for a cat is typically defined by limited access points, reduced noise, and a clear view of the surroundings. Enclosed or semi-enclosed areas such as boxes, shelves, under furniture, or quiet corners fulfill these criteria. These locations reduce the number of directions from which a threat could approach, which lowers the need for continuous alertness. Elevation is another important factor in space selection. Cats often choose higher surfaces such as shelves, furniture backs, or window perches. Elevated positions provide a wider visual field, allowing cats to monitor their environment efficiently. This visual advantage enables earlier detection of movement while maintaining physical distance from potential disturbances. Cats also show a preference for spaces that carry familiar scents. Through facial rubbing, paw contact, and resting, cats deposit pheromones that mark an area as familiar. These chemical cues signal safety and ownership to the cat's nervous system. Once a space is scent-marked, cats are more likely to return to it for rest. Light exposure influences the choice of safe spaces. Cats often select areas with indirect or soft light rather than bright illumination. Sunlit spots are commonly chosen because they provide warmth, but cats usually avoid direct glare. Controlled lighting supports visual comfort and reduces sensory strain. Temperature stability is another key factor. Cats prefer environments within their thermoneutral range, where minimal energy is required to maintain body temperature. Safe spaces are often located away from drafts, excessive heat, or sudden temperature changes. Stable thermal conditions support longer, deeper rest periods. Sound levels significantly affect space selection. Cats have sensitive hearing and are more likely to rest in areas where background noise is minimal and predictable. Sudden or irregular sounds can trigger alert responses, even during rest. Quiet spaces allow cats to disengage from constant auditory monitoring. Safe spaces also support predictable access patterns. Cats tend to choose locations where foot traffic is low and human movement is limited. Reduced interaction lowers the likelihood of unexpected contact, which can otherwise interrupt rest or trigger startle responses. The size of a space matters as well. Cats often prefer spaces that are just large enough to fit their bodies comfortably. Tight spaces provide physical contact on multiple sides, which increases tactile feedback and enhances the sense of containment. This physical containment contributes to perceived safety. In multi-animal households, safe spaces become especially important. Cats may choose separate resting areas to avoid social tension. Access to multiple safe spaces allows cats to regulate social distance without conflict. Safe spaces also function as recovery zones. When cats feel overstimulated, unwell, or fatigued, they retreat to familiar locations. This withdrawal is a self-regulating behavior that supports nervous system balance and physical recovery. Importantly, cats do not require constant use of safe spaces. When environmental conditions feel stable, cats may rest openly. However, the availability of a secure retreat reduces baseline stress, even if the space is not actively used. Kittens and senior cats rely more heavily on secure spaces. Kittens use them for protection during development, while older cats benefit from reduced physical demands and environmental predictability. Overall, a cat's use of safe spaces is a factual outcome of sensory sensitivity, spatial awareness, and survival-oriented behavior. By selecting environments that limit stimulation, enhance observation, and maintain comfort, cats create conditions that support calmness, rest, and physiological stability. Cats communicate extensively through body language rather than vocal sounds. This form of communication relies on observable physical signals that reflect a cat's internal physiological state. When a cat is calm, its body language follows consistent, measurable patterns that can be identified without interpretation or emotion. One of the most reliable indicators of calmness in a cat is overall muscle tone. A relaxed cat exhibits loose, flexible muscles rather than stiffness. The body may appear slightly elongated or comfortably curled, without visible tension in the limbs, shoulders, or back. This relaxed muscle state indicates low activation of the sympathetic nervous system. The position of the ears provides clear information about a cat's level of alertness. Calm cats typically hold their ears upright or gently angled outward. The ears remain still or move slowly in response to sounds. Rapid ear flicking or flattened ears are not present in a relaxed state. Neutral ear positioning reflects an absence of immediate threat monitoring. Eye behavior is another factual indicator. Calm cats often have partially closed eyes, a relaxed eyelid position, and minimal eye movement. Pupils remain moderately narrow under normal lighting conditions. Slow blinking is commonly observed during relaxed states. This is a physiological response associated with low arousal rather than a learned gesture. Whisker position is closely linked to emotional and sensory state. In a calm cat, whiskers rest loosely at the sides of the face. They are not pushed forward or tightly pulled back. This neutral whisker position indicates that the cat is not actively assessing close-range stimuli or preparing for rapid movement. Tail posture and movement also convey calmness. A relaxed cat's tail is often still, gently curved, or resting alongside the body. If movement occurs, it is slow and minimal. Rapid tail flicking or lashing is absent. Slow tail motion reflects stable emotional regulation and low arousal. Breathing patterns provide measurable evidence of calm. In resting cats, breathing is slow, shallow, and regular. The chest or abdomen rises and falls gently without visible effort. There is no panting or exaggerated respiratory movement. This steady breathing rate supports sustained rest and energy conservation. Posture offers additional information. Calm cats often sit or lie in positions that do not prepare for immediate escape. Legs may be tucked beneath the body, stretched out, or loosely folded. The head is carried naturally, without rigid elevation or downward tension. These postures indicate environmental trust. Facial muscles in relaxed cats appear soft rather than tightened. The jaw remains closed without clenching. The mouth is relaxed, and there is no baring of teeth or tension around the lips. These features collectively signal a non-defensive state. Movement, when it occurs, is slow and purposeful. Calm cats shift positions gradually, stand up without sudden motion, and lie down smoothly. Transitions between positions are unhurried. This controlled movement reflects efficient neuromuscular coordination and a lack of urgency. Cats also use spatial positioning as part of calm communication. A relaxed cat may choose to remain in open areas or near others without physical contact. This behavior demonstrates comfort without the need for constant interaction or distance seeking. Importantly, calm body language is consistent over time. A relaxed cat maintains these signals continuously rather than briefly. Short-lived relaxation followed by sudden alertness usually indicates environmental change rather than sustained calm. These observable physical signals, muscle tone, ear position, eye behavior, whisker placement, tail posture, breathing rhythm, posture, facial tension, and movement style, form a coherent system of communication. They are factual indicators rooted in feline physiology and neurology. Together, they explain how a cat conveys calmness clearly and silently through its body alone. Cats regulate their energy through a combination of biological design, behavioral patterns, and neurological control. This regulation allows them to alternate efficiently between periods of activity and extended rest, without excessive physical or mental strain. Energy management in cats is not accidental. It is a structured system shaped by evolution. The primary factor in feline energy regulation is metabolism. Cats have a metabolism adapted for short, intense bursts of activity rather than prolonged exertion. Their bodies are optimized to store and conserve energy, releasing it quickly when needed. This metabolic design supports behaviors such as sprinting, jumping, or pouncing, followed by immediate recovery through rest. Muscle composition plays a significant role. Cats possess a high proportion of fast-twitch muscle fibers, which generate rapid force but fatigue quickly. These fibers are efficient for explosive movement but inefficient for endurance. As a result, cats instinctively avoid unnecessary movement and spend much of their time resting to preserve muscular capacity. Rest periods are not passive gaps but active components of energy regulation. During rest, cats lower their heart rate, reduce muscle tension, and shift into a parasympathetic nervous system state. This physiological shift supports cellular repair, energy replenishment, and neurological recovery. Even light resting contributes to maintaining energy balance. Cats also regulate energy through behavioral pacing. They do not engage in continuous activity. Instead, they break activity into short sessions separated by rest. Play, exploration, and grooming are typically followed by stillness. This pacing prevents energy depletion and minimizes physical stress. Sleep quality further supports energy management. Cats enter deep sleep and REM sleep regularly, allowing for muscle recovery and neural maintenance. These sleep phases contribute to restoring physical readiness and cognitive function. Adequate sleep ensures that energy reserves are available when needed. Feeding patterns influence energy regulation as well. Cats are natural grazers rather than large meal consumers. In natural conditions, they eat small, frequent meals. This feeding style supports stable blood glucose levels and prevents large energy fluctuations. Domestic feeding routines often reflect this biological preference. Hormonal regulation is also involved. Hormones such as cortisol and adrenaline are released in response to perceived threats or stimulation. In calm environments, baseline levels of these hormones remain low, conserving energy. Cats avoid unnecessary arousal, which helps maintain hormonal balance and prevents chronic energy expenditure. Environmental control supports efficient energy use. Cats choose resting locations that minimize sensory input and physical effort. By resting in warm, quiet, and secure spaces, cats reduce the energy required for temperature regulation and vigilance. This strategic selection of environment is a form of energy conservation. Age affects energy regulation. Kittens have higher activity levels but also require frequent rest to support growth. Adult cats achieve a balanced pattern of activity and rest. Senior cats naturally reduce activity due to changes in muscle mass and metabolism, increasing rest periods to maintain comfort. Cats also regulate energy socially. They avoid prolonged social interaction when unnecessary. Limited interaction reduces emotional arousal and physical movement. This selective engagement allows cats to preserve energy while still maintaining social bonds. Importantly, cats do not override fatigue signals. When energy levels drop, they rest without resistance. There is no evidence of cats forcing activity beyond physical capacity in normal conditions. This responsiveness to internal signals supports long-term health and stability. All these elements, metabolism, muscle structure, sleep cycles, hormonal balance, environmental choice, feeding behavior, age-related changes, and behavioral pacing, work together to regulate feline energy. This system allows cats to remain calm, efficient, and physically balanced throughout the day without constant exertion. Cats often share space with humans in a way that requires minimal interaction, and this behavior is based on observable social and neurological traits. Feline companionship differs from that of many social animals because it does not rely on constant communication, physical contact, or coordinated activity. Instead, cats are adapted to coexist quietly while maintaining individual autonomy. Domestic cats evolved from solitary ancestors that did not depend on group living for survival. As a result, their social systems are flexible rather than obligatory. Cats can form social bonds, but these bonds do not require continuous reinforcement. This allows cats to remain comfortable in shared spaces without engaging directly, which contributes to a low arousal environment. When cats choose to remain near humans, they often do so without demanding attention. This behavior reflects selective social engagement. Cats assess their environment and determine when interaction is necessary or beneficial. In calm situations, they often remain present but inactive, such as resting nearby or sitting within view. This passive presence does not introduce stimulation or urgency. Cats are capable of recognizing familiar individuals through a combination of scent, sound, and visual cues. Once familiarity is established, the cat's need for vigilance decreases. Reduced vigilance allows the cat to relax in the presence of known humans. This relaxed state is observable through body posture, breathing patterns, and extended rest. Physical contact in feline companionship is typically brief and controlled. Cats initiate and end contact based on internal sensory thresholds. This self-regulation prevents overstimulation and supports emotional balance. When contact occurs, it is often limited to gentle rubbing, sitting nearby, or brief periods of touch. Cats also communicate comfort through proximity rather than action. Sitting near a person, choosing to rest in the same room, or sleeping within a shared space are all indicators of social tolerance and environmental trust. These behaviors do not require vocalization or movement, keeping overall stimulation low. The predictability of a calm companion is another contributing factor. Cats display consistent behavioral patterns when they feel safe. This predictability reduces uncertainty for both the cat and nearby humans. Stable behavior patterns require less cognitive processing and contribute to a sense of order in the environment. From a neurological perspective, calm social presence is associated with reduced activation of stress response systems. When cats are not threatened or overstimulated, their sympathetic nervous system activity remains low. This physiological state supports relaxed behavior and extended periods of stillness. Cats also mirror environmental calm. In quiet households, cats tend to synchronize their activity and rest cycles with surrounding conditions. This synchronization is a measurable behavioral adaptation that allows cats to maintain energy efficiency and emotional stability. Importantly, cats do not exhibit constant social monitoring. They do not continuously check for social cues once safety is established. This allows them to disengage mentally while remaining physically present. Disengagement supports rest and prevents unnecessary arousal. Cats may also position themselves in locations that allow both proximity and distance. For example, resting at the edge of a room or on nearby furniture provides visual access without physical closeness. This spatial balance supports comfort without pressure. Over time, repeated calm co-presence strengthens familiarity. Familiarity reduces stress hormone levels and supports behavioral consistency. The absence of forced interaction allows the cat's nervous system to remain regulated. All of these behaviors, selective interaction, passive proximity, controlled contact, predictability, low vigilance, and environmental synchronization, are factual characteristics of feline companionship. They explain why cats can share space quietly and consistently without introducing stimulation, making their presence naturally calm and unobtrusive. Cats exhibit distinct behavioral and physiological patterns during nighttime hours that are consistent across domestic environments. These patterns are shaped by their natural activity cycles, sensory adaptations, and energy regulation systems. Understanding nighttime behavior in cats requires examining observable facts rather than assumptions based on human sleep habits. Cats are naturally crepuscular, meaning their peak activity occurs around dawn and dusk. Nighttime often represents a transitional period rather than a continuous sleep phase. While cats do rest during the night, they also experience brief periods of alertness or movement. These periods are typically short and purposeful, followed by a return to rest. Light levels strongly influence feline nighttime behavior. Cats have retinas adapted for low-light vision, allowing them to navigate dim environments with minimal effort. Because their vision remains effective in darkness, cats do not experience the same sensory limitations humans do at night. This reduces disorientation and allows calm movement without stress. During nighttime rest, cats often choose locations that provide warmth, safety, and minimal disturbance. These locations may differ slightly from daytime resting spots due to temperature changes or household activity patterns. Warm surfaces remain a consistent preference, as warmth supports muscle relaxation and stable sleep. Nighttime rest in cats is characterized by frequent position changes. Cats may shift from curled positions to stretched positions and back again. These movements are slow and controlled, indicating that they occur during light sleep or resting states rather than full awakening. Such adjustments help regulate body temperature and maintain comfort. Cats' hearing remains highly sensitive at night, but they do not respond to every sound. Instead, they selectively react to unfamiliar or sudden noises. Familiar, repetitive nighttime sounds are often ignored. This selective auditory processing allows cats to rest without constant interruption. Breathing patterns during nighttime rest remain slow and regular. In a calm sleeping cat, respiration is shallow and rhythmic. Heart rate decreases and muscle tone is reduced. These physiological changes indicate a parasympathetic dominant state, supporting physical recovery and nervous system regulation. Cats may engage in short grooming sessions during the night. Grooming is a routine maintenance behavior that also contributes to relaxation. The repetitive movements stimulate nerve endings and help maintain fur insulation. After grooming, cats typically return to rest. Feeding behavior can influence nighttime calm. Cats that eat in the evening often rest more deeply afterward. Digestion triggers metabolic processes that promote rest. In natural conditions, cats would eat after hunting during twilight hours, followed by sleep. Domestic feeding schedules often reflect this pattern. Social factors also play a role. In shared environments, cats may adjust their nighttime activity based on human presence or absence. When surroundings are quiet and predictable, cats exhibit fewer nighttime disturbances. Calm environments support longer rest periods. Cats do not experience nighttime anxiety in the absence of threats. Their nervous systems are adapted to function efficiently in darkness. When environmental conditions are stable, nighttime does not inherently increase stress or alertness. Age affects nighttime behavior. Kittens may wake more frequently due to higher energy demands and developmental needs. Senior cats may adjust positions more often due to joint stiffness or temperature sensitivity. These variations are consistent with physical condition rather than emotional state. Importantly, cats do not associate nighttime with inactivity alone. Their rest cycles remain flexible, allowing brief awakenings without disrupting overall balance. This flexibility supports survival and energy efficiency. All these observations, light sensitivity, selective hearing, temperature regulation, controlled movement, feeding influence, and physiological changes, are factual aspects of feline nighttime behavior. Together, they explain how cats maintain calm and regulated states throughout the night, without continuous sleep or heightened arousal. Cats demonstrate a form of intelligence that is adapted to independence, problem-solving, and environmental assessment rather than social coordination. This intelligence is measurable through behavior, learning ability, memory, and sensory integration. It reflects how cats interact with their surroundings efficiently while conserving energy. The feline brain is smaller than the human brain in absolute size, but its structure supports complex processing. Cats have a well-developed cerebral cortex, which is involved in decision-making, sensory interpretation, and learning. Neuron density in certain cortical regions is high relative to brain size, supporting efficient information processing. Cats learn primarily through observation and experience rather than instruction. They are capable of associative learning, meaning they connect actions with outcomes. For example, cats quickly learn which behaviors lead to food, access to preferred spaces, or avoidance of discomfort. This learning occurs without repetitive training and is retained over time. Memory in cats is both short-term and long-term. Short-term memory allows cats to retain information for minutes to hours, such as the location of an object or a recent interaction. Long-term memory enables cats to remember places, routines, and individuals for months or years. This memory capacity supports stable behavior and environmental familiarity. Problem-solving ability in cats is most evident in situations involving access to resources. Cats can learn how to open doors, manipulate objects, or navigate obstacles to reach food or resting areas. These solutions are often developed through trial and error combined with spatial memory rather than imitation. Cats excel at spatial intelligence. They maintain detailed mental maps of their environment, including vertical and horizontal dimensions. This allows them to navigate complex spaces efficiently, remember escape routes, and locate resources without repeated exploration. Spatial awareness reduces uncertainty and unnecessary movement. Sensory integration is a key behavior, but a gradual biological and behavioral process shaped by evolution, learning, and experience. Domestic cats descend from solitary ancestors, which means trust is especially significant for them. Unlike highly social species, cats are not biologically driven to depend on constant group interaction. As a result, when a cat places trust in a human or environment, it reflects a deliberate assessment of safety rather than instinctive attachment. Cats build trust through repeated exposure to predictable, non-threatening interactions. Studies in animal behavior show that cats rely heavily on consistency. Familiar routines, stable environments, and calm responses allow a cat's nervous system to remain regulated. When outcomes are predictable, stress hormones decrease, and the cat becomes more willing to remain present rather than vigilant. Trust development in cats is closely tied to their sensory processing. Cats have highly sensitive hearing and acute visual perception, particularly for movement. Sudden sounds, abrupt gestures, or inconsistent handling can interrupt trust formation. Conversely, slow movements, steady tones, and gentle transitions signal safety. Over time, these cues become associated with a specific person or place, reinforcing trust through learned association. Physical proximity is one measurable indicator of trust. Research on feline behavior notes that cats choose resting locations based on perceived safety. When a cat voluntarily rests near a human, without restraint or incentive, it indicates confidence that the individual poses no threat. This proximity is not constant. Cats adjust distance dynamically depending on comfort levels, which is a normal and healthy expression of trust. Body posture provides clear factual signals of trust. A cat that trusts its surroundings will display loose muscle tone, a neutral tail position, and slow, even breathing. Ears remain upright or gently angled rather than flattened. These physiological states correspond with reduced sympathetic nervous system activity, indicating that the cat does not feel the need to prepare for escape or defense. Sleep behavior is another strong indicator. Cats are vulnerable during sleep, particularly during deeper rest phases. Choosing to sleep in open or shared spaces reflects confidence in environmental safety. This behavior is supported by observations that cats alter sleep location when stressors are introduced and return to preferred spots once calm is restored. Eye behavior also plays a role. The slow blink is a documented affiliative signal in cats. Studies have shown that cats are more likely to approach humans who slow blink at them, suggesting this behavior functions as a non-threatening visual cue. When a cat slow blinks in return, it reflects recognition of safety rather than alertness. Trust in cats is reinforced through respect for boundaries. Unlike some animals, cats do not respond positively to forced interaction. Allowing a cat to initiate contact increases confidence and reduces stress-related behaviors. Over time, this autonomy strengthens trust, as the cat learns that its signals are acknowledged and honored. Cats also demonstrate trust through scent-sharing behaviors. When a cat rubs its head or body against objects or people, it deposits pheromones from facial glands. This marking behavior is associated with familiarity and environmental comfort. It helps the cat create a stable sensory landscape, further reinforcing feelings of safety. Importantly, trust in cats is reversible and responsive to change. Stressful events, environmental disruption, or negative handling can temporarily reduce trust, leading to withdrawal or increased alertness. However, with restored consistency and calm conditions, trust can rebuild. This flexibility reflects the cat's adaptive nervous system rather than emotional volatility. From a factual perspective, trust in cats is best understood as a state of regulated awareness. It is not submission, dependency, or obedience. It is the absence of perceived threat combined with learned safety. When this state is present, the cat conserves energy, rests more deeply, and interacts with its environment in a calm, measured way. Observing these patterns offers insight into how safety shapes behavior. Cats demonstrate that trust is cumulative, quiet, and grounded in repetition. It grows not through intensity, but through stability. Over time, this steady process creates an atmosphere of calm that benefits both the cat and those sharing the space, allowing relaxation to arise naturally without effort or demand. The warmth of a resting cat is a measurable physical phenomenon rooted in feline biology. Domestic cats maintain an average body temperature between 38 degrees C and 39.2 degrees C, 100.4 degrees F to 102.5 degrees F, which is higher than that of humans. This elevated baseline temperature means that a resting cat naturally emits consistent body heat, even when motionless. Cats are efficient at conserving this heat. Their fur provides insulation by trapping air close to the skin, reducing heat loss. The density and structure of a cat's coat vary by breed and season, but in all cases, the fur functions as a thermal buffer. When a cat curls its body into a compact shape, it minimizes exposed surface area, further preserving warmth. This posture is commonly observed during rest and sleep, especially in cooler environments. Heat distribution in cats is supported by their circulatory system. Blood flow is regulated to prioritize core organs, maintaining stable internal temperature. During rest, muscle activity decreases, reducing heat loss through movement. This allows the cat's body temperature to remain steady over long periods of inactivity. As a result, a sleeping or resting cat can feel noticeably warm to the touch. Cats also seek external heat sources to complement their internal warmth. Scientific observations show that cats prefer ambient temperatures higher than those preferred by humans, often between 30 degrees C and 36 degrees C, 86 degrees F to 97 degrees F. This preference explains why cats gravitate towards sunlight, warm surfaces, electronic devices, or human bodies. These choices reduce the metabolic energy required to maintain body temperature. When a cat rests near or against a human, heat transfer occurs through conduction. The cat's higher body temperature allows warmth to pass to cooler surfaces in contact with it. This transfer is gradual and consistent, contributing to a stable thermal environment. Unlike artificial heat sources, a cat's warmth fluctuates minimally, creating a steady sensation rather than sharp temperature changes. From a physiological perspective, warmth plays a role in muscle relaxation. Heat increases blood flow to tissues and supports muscle elasticity. In cats, resting warmth helps maintain joint comfort, particularly in older individuals. This is one reason senior cats often seek out warm resting places more frequently than younger cats. The warmth of a resting cat is also linked to sleep regulation. Cats sleep for an average of 12 to 16 hours per day, with some individuals sleeping up to 20 hours. Maintaining a warm body temperature supports efficient sleep cycles by reducing the need for frequent position changes or awakenings caused by thermal discomfort. Heat stability allows deeper rest phases to occur more consistently. Feline metabolism contributes to this process. Cats are obligate carnivores with protein-based metabolisms that generate heat efficiently. Even at rest, their metabolic processes produce sufficient energy to sustain warmth without excessive movement. This internal heat production is balanced carefully to avoid overheating, which is why cats will change positions or locations if temperatures rise beyond comfort. In shared environments, the warmth of a resting cat can subtly influence surrounding conditions. Enclosed spaces such as beds, cushions, or blankets retain heat more effectively when a cat is present. Over time, these spaces become associated with warmth and comfort, reinforcing the cat's preference for returning to them. Importantly, a cat's warmth is not constant in all conditions. Illness, stress, or environmental changes can affect body temperature. A healthy resting cat, however, maintains thermal stability within a narrow range. Veterinary measurements confirm that deviations from this range often signal physiological stress or medical concerns. From a factual standpoint, the warmth of a resting cat is the result of temperature regulation, insulation, posture, metabolism, and environmental selection. It is not incidental, but an integrated biological system designed for energy efficiency and comfort. This consistent warmth supports rest, reduces physical strain, and reflects the cat's ability to create stable conditions for recovery and sleep. Observing a resting cat demonstrates how warmth functions as a quiet stabilizer. Without movement or effort, the cat maintains a balanced thermal state that supports long periods of calm inactivity. This biological consistency is one of the defining characteristics of feline rest and contributes to the overall sense of physical comfort associated with a resting cat. Cats and the feeling of home are closely connected through biology, spatial memory, and sensory processing. For a cat, home is not defined by emotional attachment in a human sense, but by familiarity, predictability, and environmental stability. A place becomes home when it consistently meets a cat's needs for safety, resources, and sensory comfort. Territory is central to this process. Cats are territorial animals, and their sense of security is strongly linked to defined, familiar spaces. A cat's territory includes core areas where it eats, sleeps, and rests, as well as peripheral areas used for observation and movement. Within this territory, the cat develops detailed spatial memory, allowing it to navigate confidently without constant vigilance. This familiarity reduces stress and conserves energy. Scent plays a primary role in establishing a feeling of home. Cats possess scent glands on their cheeks, chin, forehead, paws, and flanks. When a cat rubs against furniture, door frames, or people, it deposits pheromones that mark the environment as familiar. These chemical signals do not have a strong odor detectable by humans, but they provide the cat with continuous reassurance that the space is known and safe. A scent-marked environment helps maintain emotional and physiological stability. Home is also defined by routine. Cats rely on predictable patterns of feeding, resting, and activity. Regular schedules allow the cat's internal clock to synchronize with its surroundings. When routines remain consistent, stress hormone levels remain lower, and the cat shows fewer signs of anxiety-related behaviors. Disruptions to routine, even small ones, can temporarily unsettle this sense of home until predictability is restored. Physical layout contributes significantly to a cat's sense of belonging. Cats prefer environments that offer both visibility and refuge. Elevated surfaces, quiet corners, and enclosed resting areas allow a cat to observe without being exposed. When these features remain unchanged, the cat learns where it can retreat, rest, or monitor activity. This spatial knowledge reinforces confidence and reduces the need for constant alertness. The feeling of home is further reinforced by repeated positive experiences within the same space. Access to food, water, comfortable resting areas, and litter boxes in consistent locations strengthens environmental association. Over time, the cat learns that its needs are reliably met within this territory, reinforcing attachment to the space itself rather than to any single individual. Cats also associate home with sound patterns. Familiar ambient noises, such as household sounds, human voices, or outdoor background noise, become part of the cat's environmental map. Sudden changes in sound can trigger alertness, while familiar soundscapes support relaxation. This auditory familiarity contributes to the overall stability of the home environment. Visual familiarity is equally important. Cats memorize the arrangement of objects and pathways within their territory. When furniture or layouts change, cats often investigate carefully, indicating the need to update their spatial map. Once the environment stabilizes again, movement becomes more fluid and relaxed, reflecting restored confidence. The presence of familiar individuals can support a cat's sense of home, but the environment remains the primary anchor. Cats can form attachments to people, yet they often show stronger distress when removed from their territory than when separated from specific individuals. This highlights the importance of place-based security over social dependency. Stress responses provide measurable evidence of the home effect. In familiar environments, cats display lower heart rates, relaxed body posture, and increased resting behavior. In unfamiliar settings, stress indicators such as hiding, reduced appetite, or increased vigilance are more common. These physiological and behavioral changes demonstrate how deeply the feeling of home is tied to environmental familiarity. From a factual perspective, a cat's sense of home is the result of accumulated sensory cues, stable routines, territorial familiarity, and reliable access to resources. It is not symbolic or abstract, but practical and biological. When these elements are present, the cat experiences reduced stress, increased rest, and more balanced behavior. Understanding how cats experience home reveals that comfort arises from consistency rather than novelty. A stable environment allows the cat to disengage from constant monitoring and enter a state of calm awareness. This state supports rest, health, and long-term well-being, making the feeling of home one of the most important factors in a cat's daily life. Cats communicate in ways that rely more on subtle signals than on overt vocalization. Gentle communication without words is the primary mode through which cats interact with their environment, other animals, and humans. This system is grounded in body language, posture, movement, and sensory cues rather than explicit sounds. Body posture is one of the most informative nonverbal communication channels in cats. A relaxed cat typically holds its body in a loose, neutral position, with muscles soft and weight evenly distributed. Tension in posture, such as crouching low, arching the back, or stiffening the limbs, signals alertness or discomfort. These physical changes occur automatically in response to environmental assessment and are reliable indicators of internal state. Tail position and movement provide additional information. A tail held upright with a gentle curve at the tip often indicates a neutral or positive state. Slow, deliberate tail movements suggest focused attention, while rapid or forceful tail flicking reflects agitation or overstimulation. These signals allow cats to express boundaries without vocalization or physical confrontation. Ear orientation is another key element. Ears facing forward or slightly angled outward indicate interest or relaxation. Ears rotated sideways or flattened backward signal stress, fear, or defensive readiness. Because cats can rotate their ears independently, subtle shifts can communicate changes in attention or emotional state in real time. Eye behavior plays a significant role in silent communication. A cat that narrows its eyes or performs slow blinks is displaying a non-threatening signal. Direct, unblinking staring, especially in unfamiliar contexts, can be interpreted as a challenge or threat. These visual cues allow cats to regulate interactions without physical contact. Whiskers also contribute to nonverbal signaling. When whiskers are relaxed and held slightly forward or to the sides, the cat is generally calm. Whiskers pulled tightly back against the face often indicate stress or fear. Because whiskers are highly sensitive, their positioning reflects both emotional state and environmental awareness. Movement patterns carry communicative meaning as well. Slow, fluid movements suggest confidence and calm. Quick, jerky motions indicate heightened alertness or uncertainty. Cats adjust their movement speed in response to perceived safety, using motion itself as a signal to others in their environment. Scent-based communication is central to feline interaction and occurs entirely without sound. Cats deposit pheromones through facial rubbing, scratching, and walking across surfaces. These chemical signals convey information about territory, familiarity, and emotional state. Scent marking reduces the need for repeated direct interaction by maintaining a persistent environmental message. Cats also communicate through spatial positioning. Choosing to sit near another individual without physical contact often indicates tolerance or comfort. Increasing distance communicates a desire for space. These adjustments happen quietly and gradually, allowing interactions to remain low conflict and predictable. Touch, when it occurs, is typically brief and deliberate. Head bumps, body rubs, or gentle contact serve as affiliative gestures, rather than demands for prolonged interaction. These behaviors are initiated by the cat and can end just as smoothly, reflecting control over social engagement. Importantly, cats are adept at reading human nonverbal cues as well. Research indicates that cats respond to human gaze direction, posture, and movement patterns. Calm, predictable human behavior increases the likelihood of relaxed feline responses, while abrupt or inconsistent actions can disrupt communication. From a factual standpoint, gentle communication without words allows cats to minimize conflict and conserve energy. This system evolved to support solitary hunting lifestyles, where silence and subtlety were advantageous. Vocalizations exist, but they are secondary compared to physical and sensory cues. Understanding this communication style highlights that cats are not uncommunicative. Rather, they communicate continuously through quiet channels. Their signals are consistent, measurable, and biologically grounded. When these cues are recognized and respected, interactions remain calm, efficient, and low stress, reinforcing stability within shared environments. Cats influence stress levels in their surroundings through a combination of behavioral patterns, physiological characteristics, and predictable routines. Stress reduction associated with cats is not symbolic or emotional in nature, but the result of observable interactions between feline behavior and human nervous system responses. One of the most studied factors is the sound of purring. Cat purring typically occurs within a frequency range of approximately 25 to 150 Hz. These low-frequency vibrations have been shown in various studies to correlate with physiological relaxation responses in mammals. In humans, exposure to low, steady-frequency sounds is associated with reduced heart rate, lower blood pressure, and decreased stress hormone levels. While cats do not purr for the purpose of calming humans, the acoustic properties of purring can have measurable calming effects. Visual observation of cats also contributes to stress reduction. Watching slow, repetitive movements, such as grooming, stretching, or rhythmic breathing, engages the brain's attention in a non-demanding way. Neuroscience research indicates that low-complexity visual stimuli can reduce cognitive load and quiet excessive mental activity. A resting or calmly moving cat provides this type of stimulus naturally. Cats also affect stress levels through environmental predictability. Their routines, regular resting, grooming, and activity cycles introduce consistent patterns into shared spaces. Predictability is known to reduce anxiety by lowering uncertainty. When a cat follows familiar rhythms, the environment becomes more stable, which supports nervous system regulation in both animals and humans. Physical presence plays a role as well. A cat's body heat, steady breathing, and relaxed posture provide sensory cues associated with safety. Proximity to a calm animal can activate parasympathetic nervous system responses, which support relaxation and recovery. These responses occur without conscious effort and are influenced by sensory input rather than emotional interpretation. Touch-based interaction, when initiated by the cat, can further reduce stress. Gentle contact, such as a cat resting against a person or sitting nearby, provides consistent tactile input. This type of input has been associated with oxytocin release in humans, a hormone involved in social bonding and stress regulation. Importantly, these effects are strongest when interaction is voluntary and non-intrusive. Cats also contribute to stress reduction by encouraging slower behavior. Their natural preference for rest and stillness can influence human activity patterns. People often unconsciously adjust their movements, speech, and breathing when near a resting cat. This behavioral mirroring leads to a quieter environment and reduced stimulation. From a physiological perspective, interaction with cats has been associated with lower cortisol levels in some studies. Cortisol is a hormone released during stress responses. Reduced cortisol is linked to improved mood, immune function, and cardiovascular health. While individual responses vary, the overall trend supports a calming influence. Cats also help reduce stress through emotional neutrality. Unlike humans, cats do not engage in complex social evaluation or verbal judgment. Their responses are immediate and behavior-based. This absence of social pressure can reduce mental strain, particularly in environments where humans experience high cognitive or emotional demands. Environmental enrichment is another factor. The presence of a cat introduces natural sensory variation, soft sounds, gentle movement, and warmth, without overwhelming stimulation. This balance supports sustained attention without fatigue, which is beneficial for stress management. It is important to note that stress reduction depends on the cat's own well-being. A stressed or anxious cat can transmit tension through its behavior and body language. Calm cats in stable environments are the primary contributors to stress-lowering effects. From a factual standpoint, cats reduce stress through sound frequencies, visual simplicity, physical presence, predictable routines, and low-demand interaction. These mechanisms operate through sensory and physiological pathways rather than abstract emotional meaning. The result is a measurable shift toward calm in environments where cats are present, supporting relaxation and mental balance over time. Cats are characterized by a form of independence that is distinct from isolation. This independence is rooted in their evolutionary history as solitary hunters, where self-sufficiency was essential for survival. Unlike species that evolved to rely on coordinated group behavior, cats develop the ability to meet most of their needs alone. This biological foundation explains why cats can function comfortably without constant social interaction. Independence in cats is evident in their daily behavior. Cats regulate their own activity cycles, alternating between rest, grooming, exploration, and brief periods of play or hunting behavior. These cycles are internally driven rather than socially imposed. A cat does not rely on external cues from others to determine when to rest or move, which contributes to a stable and self-regulated nervous system. At the same time, independence does not mean avoidance of social contact. Domestic cats often choose to be near humans or other animals while maintaining control over the interaction. This selective engagement allows cats to balance autonomy with connection. From a behavioral standpoint, the ability to approach and withdraw freely reduces stress by preserving a sense of control over the environment. Control is a central factor in feline well-being. Research in animal behavior consistently shows that animals with greater control over their surroundings exhibit fewer stress-related behaviors. Cats demonstrate this principle through their preference for initiating contact, choosing resting locations, and determining interaction duration. These choices support emotional regulation without requiring complete social withdrawal. Cats also manage independence through spatial organization. They divide their environment into functional zones for resting, eating, eliminating, and observing. By navigating these zones independently, cats maintain familiarity and predictability. This spatial autonomy reduces reliance on others and supports confidence in movement and behavior. Feeding behavior further illustrates soft independence. While domestic cats depend on humans for food provision, they still approach feeding in a self-directed way. Cats eat in small portions and often prefer quiet, low-interruption environments. They are sensitive to changes in feeding location or timing, not because of dependency, but because predictability supports their internal regulation. Communication patterns reinforce this balance. Cats do not continuously seek feedback or reassurance. Instead, they use brief, efficient signals to express needs or boundaries. Once communication is complete, they return to independent activity. This low-demand interaction style minimizes social pressure while maintaining functional connection. Rest behavior also reflects independence without isolation. Cats frequently rest alone, yet they may choose locations near others. This proximity without contact allows them to benefit from shared warmth or environmental familiarity without surrendering autonomy. Studies of multi-cat households show that cats often coordinate resting locations based on comfort rather than social hierarchy. Importantly, cats tolerate solitude well when environmental needs are met. Access to food, water, clean litter, comfortable resting spaces, and mental stimulation allows cats to remain calm during periods without interaction. This tolerance is not emotional detachment, but an adaptive capacity to self-regulate in the absence of social input. However, independence in cats is flexible. When environmental stress increases, cats may seek more proximity to familiar individuals. This shift does not negate independence. It reflects adaptive adjustment. Cats use social contact as one of several regulation strategies rather than as a constant requirement. From a neurological perspective, this balance supports stability. Independence reduces overstimulation, while optional connection provides reassurance. The nervous system benefits from both autonomy and access to familiar sensory cues. This combination explains why cats can appear self-contained, yet still form strong attachments. In factual terms, the soft independence of cats is a regulated state defined by autonomy, choice, and controlled engagement. It is neither detachment nor dependency. This balance allows cats to remain calm, efficient, and adaptable within their environment, supporting long-term physical and emotional stability without the need for constant interaction or isolation. Cats handle change through cautious assessment, gradual adjustment, and reliance on familiar reference points. This response is rooted in their evolutionary history as territorial animals, whose survival depended on accurately evaluating alterations in their environment. Change, for a cat, is not inherently negative, but it requires careful processing before being accepted as safe. The first response to change in cats is observation. When a new object, sound, person, or routine appears, cats typically pause and monitor from a distance. This behavior allows the sensory systems to collect information without immediate exposure. During this phase, heart rate and alertness may increase slightly, reflecting a normal evaluative response rather than distress. Cats rely heavily on predictability to regulate stress. Sudden changes disrupt established patterns and temporarily increase vigilance. Research in feline behavior indicates that gradual transitions are associated with fewer stress-related behaviors than abrupt changes. When alterations are introduced slowly, cats are able to integrate new elements into their existing environmental map more efficiently. Environmental change often affects scent cues first. Because cats use scent marking to establish familiarity, new objects or spaces lacking the cat's scent may feel neutral or uncertain. Cats commonly investigate by sniffing or rubbing against new items, depositing pheromones to integrate them into the territory. This process transforms unfamiliar elements into familiar ones over time. Spatial change requires cognitive adjustment. Cats maintain detailed mental maps of their environment, including pathways, resting areas, and observation points. When furniture is rearranged or spaces are altered, cats often move cautiously, testing routes before resuming normal movement. Once the new layout is learned, behavior returns to baseline, indicating successful adaptation. Routine changes, such as altered feeding times or human schedules, also require adjustment. Cats use daily rhythms to regulate sleep and activity cycles. Temporary disruptions may lead to changes in rest patterns or increased monitoring behavior. With consistent repetition of the new routine, cats recalibrate their internal clocks and regain stability. Social changes, including new animals or people, are processed through distance regulation. Cats often observe newcomers from elevated or hidden positions. Direct interaction is delayed until the cat determines that the presence does not pose a threat. This stepwise approach reduces the likelihood of conflict and allows controlled exposure. Physiological stress responses during change are measurable. Increased cortisol levels, changes in grooming behavior, or reduced appetite can occur during initial adjustment periods. These responses are typically temporary and resolve as the environment becomes predictable again. Prolonged stress responses usually indicate that changes were too rapid or insufficiently supported. Age influences how cats handle change. Kittens adapt more quickly due to higher neuroplasticity and limited prior territory attachment. Adult and senior cats may require longer adjustment periods because their environmental maps are more established. This does not reflect rigidity, but accumulated familiarity that takes time to reorganize. Importantly, cats benefit from continuity during transitions. Maintaining familiar objects, scents, and routines while introducing new elements helps anchor the cat's sense of safety. This layered approach allows the nervous system to adapt without becoming overwhelmed. From a factual standpoint, cats handle change through assessment, gradual exposure, scent integration, and routine recalibration. Their cautious behavior is an adaptive strategy that prioritizes safety and energy conservation. Once new conditions prove stable and non-threatening, cats incorporate them seamlessly into daily life. This process demonstrates that feline adaptability is not impulsive but methodical. Change is accepted not through force or speed, but through repetition and consistency. Over time, this structured response allows cats to remain calm and balanced even as their environment evolves. Cats exhibit a lifestyle defined by simplicity, shaped by evolutionary efficiency and biological necessity. Their daily needs are limited in number, but precise in requirement. This simplicity is not minimalism by choice, but the result of adaptation to a hunting-based survival strategy where conserving energy and avoiding unnecessary complexity were essential. At a biological level, cats require only a few core resources: food, water, safe resting areas, and appropriate elimination sites. When these needs are met consistently, cats display stable behavior and low stress indicators. Unlike species that depend on complex social structures or varied environmental stimulation, cats thrive in environments that provide reliability rather than novelty. Feeding behavior illustrates this simplicity clearly. Cats are obligate carnivores, requiring specific nutrients found primarily in animal tissue. Their digestive systems are specialized for protein and fat metabolism, and they do not require dietary variety for psychological satisfaction. In fact, excessive changes in diet can disrupt digestion and increase stress. Consistent feeding routines support both physical health and behavioral calm. Rest is another central component. Cats spend a large portion of their lives resting or sleeping, often between 12 and 16 hours per day. This pattern reflects energy conservation rather than inactivity. Resting allows cats to maintain readiness for short, intense periods of activity. A few comfortable resting locations are sufficient to meet this need, provided they are safe and undisturbed. Environmental enrichment for cats does not require complexity. Simple features such as access to vertical space, sunlight, and quiet observation points fulfill key behavioral needs. Cats do not require constant stimulation. Overstimulation can lead to stress-related behaviors. Periods of inactivity are not signs of boredom, but a normal and healthy state. Grooming behavior further reflects simplicity. Cats groom themselves frequently using repetitive, efficient movements. This behavior maintains coat health, regulates body temperature, and provides sensory comfort. Grooming routines are consistent and rarely vary, reinforcing predictability and self-maintenance without reliance on external input. Social interaction in cats is similarly straightforward. Cats engage socially when it serves a functional purpose, such as maintaining familiarity or reducing uncertainty. They do not require constant interaction to maintain emotional balance. Brief, calm interactions are often sufficient, after which cats return to independent activity. Spatial needs are also limited but specific. Cats prefer defined areas for distinct activities. Clear separation between feeding, resting, and elimination zones supports behavioral stability. When these zones remain unchanged, cats navigate their environment with minimal cognitive effort. From a neurological perspective, simplicity supports regulation. Reduced environmental complexity lowers sensory load and supports parasympathetic nervous system activity. This allows cats to remain calm, alert when necessary, and deeply rested when conditions are safe. Importantly, simplicity does not mean deprivation. Cats require quality rather than quantity. A small number of well-maintained, predictable resources meets their needs more effectively than numerous inconsistent ones. Stability is more valuable than abundance. From a factual standpoint, the beauty of simplicity in cats lies in efficiency. Their needs are clear, limited, and biologically defined. When these needs are met without excess or disruption, cats maintain balanced behavior, stable physiology, and long-term well-being. This simplicity allows cats to conserve energy, reduce stress, and remain adaptable. It demonstrates that complexity is not a prerequisite for comfort or health. In cats, a stable environment with few but reliable elements provides everything necessary for calm, functionality, and sustained quality of life. Cats demonstrate a form of mindful attention that is rooted in sensory awareness and present moment processing rather than reflective thought. This behavior arises from neurological specialization that prioritizes immediate environmental input over abstract or future-oriented cognition. As a result, cats engage fully with what is occurring in the moment without distraction. Feline attention is primarily stimulus-driven. Cats allocate focus to relevant sensory information such as movement, sound, and scent. When no immediate stimulus is present, attention naturally decreases and the cat transitions into rest. This efficient allocation prevents unnecessary mental activity and conserves energy. Visual attention in cats is highly tuned to motion. The feline visual system is optimized to detect subtle movement, particularly within peripheral vision. When a cat watches an object or environment, its focus is narrow and sustained, with minimal scanning. This concentrated attention allows rapid response if needed while avoiding cognitive overload. Auditory attention operates similarly. Cats can rotate their ears independently to localize sound sources. When a sound is detected, attention is briefly heightened to assess relevance. If the sound proves non-threatening, attention quickly subsides. This rapid evaluation prevents prolonged alertness in safe environments. Somatosensory awareness also contributes to present-moment engagement. Cats are highly aware of body position, surface texture, and temperature through sensitive nerve endings in their paws and whiskers. This constant physical feedback grounds attention in the immediate physical environment. Whiskers function as spatial sensors, providing real-time information about proximity and air movement. This sensory input allows cats to move with precision and awareness without visual confirmation. Attention remains anchored in current spatial conditions rather than anticipatory planning. Grooming behavior offers another example of focused presence. During grooming, cats engage in repetitive, deliberate movements that require sustained attention to bodily sensation. This activity is neither rushed nor interrupted unless an external stimulus demands attention. Grooming contributes to regulation by occupying attention in a predictable, rhythmic manner. Resting behavior also reflects mindful attention. When resting, cats often remain loosely aware of their surroundings while conserving energy. This state, sometimes described as relaxed alertness, allows the cat to respond if necessary without active monitoring. Neurologically, this balance supports parasympathetic dominance while preserving sensory readiness. Importantly, cats do not multitask. Their nervous system prioritizes one primary focus at a time. When engaged in observation, movement, or grooming, other stimuli are filtered out unless they reach a threshold of relevance. This selective attention reduces cognitive strain. From a biological perspective, this attention style evolved to support hunting efficiency and predator avoidance. Being fully present increases reaction accuracy and reduces false alarms. Over time, this pattern became a default mode of operation. Environmental stability enhances this form of attention. In predictable settings, cats spend more time in low arousal states, shifting attention only when meaningful changes occur. In unstable environments, attention remains heightened for longer periods, increasing stress. From a factual standpoint, mindful attention in cats is an emergent property of sensory specialization, energy conservation, and environmental familiarity. It is not learned or intentional, but biologically driven. The soundscape of cats is composed of a limited range of vocal and non-vocal sounds, each produced through specific physiological mechanisms and serving distinct functions. Unlike animals that rely heavily on vocal communication, cats use sound selectively, often in combination with body language and environmental cues. Purring is the most continuous and recognizable feline sound. It is produced by rhythmic contractions of the laryngeal muscles, which cause vibrations in the vocal folds as air moves in and out during breathing. Purring typically occurs at frequencies between approximately 25 and 150 Hz. This sound is generated during both inhalation and exhalation, allowing it to remain continuous for extended periods. Breathing sounds are another component of the feline soundscape. In healthy cats at rest, breathing is quiet and regular, with minimal audible airflow. Respiratory rate during rest typically ranges from 16 to 40 breaths per minute. Subtle variations in breathing rhythm often correspond with sleep stages, with slower, deeper breathing during deeper rest. Silence is a dominant feature of feline auditory presence. Cats are adapted for quiet movement and minimal noise production, reflecting their evolution as ambush predators. Paw pads are structured to reduce sound during movement, and joint mechanics allow smooth, low-noise motion. This natural quietness contributes to a low-stimulation environment. Vocalizations such as meows are relatively infrequent in adult cat-to-cat communication and are used more commonly in interactions with humans. Meows vary in pitch, duration, and intensity depending on context. From a factual standpoint, these sounds function as attention-getting signals rather than emotional expressions. Chirps and trills are short, high-pitched sounds often produced during greeting or mild excitement. These sounds involve brief vocal fold activation and are typically associated with approach behavior. They are low in volume and short in duration, minimizing disruption to the surrounding environment. Hissing and growling are defensive sounds characterized by increased airflow and altered vocal tract shape. These sounds are louder and more abrupt, designed to signal discomfort or threat. However, in stable environments, these sounds are rare and do not contribute significantly to the everyday soundscape. During sleep, cats may produce faint sounds such as soft purrs or brief vocalizations associated with dreaming. These sounds are typically low in volume and intermittent. Muscle relaxation during sleep contributes to the gentle quality of these noises. Environmental interaction also produces sound. Grooming generates rhythmic licking sounds, while kneading produces soft, repetitive pressure noises against surfaces. These sounds are consistent and predictable, contributing to auditory regularity. Cats are also sensitive to sound and adjust their behavior accordingly. They tend to avoid loud or sudden noises and seek quieter areas for rest. This preference reinforces environments with reduced acoustic stimulation. From an auditory perspective, cats contribute to a soundscape dominated by low frequency, low volume, and predictable sounds. There are few sharp or sudden auditory events in typical feline behavior when the cat is calm. From a factual standpoint, the soundscape of cats is shaped by anatomical structure, respiratory control, and behavioral selectivity. Sound is used efficiently and sparingly. Silence, soft breathing, and rhythmic purring form the core auditory presence of a relaxed cat. This restrained use of sound reduces sensory load in shared environments. By maintaining low volume and low variation auditory output, cats naturally create conditions that support calm attention and rest without requiring active suppression of noise. Cats display curiosity that is measured, selective, and non-urgent. This gentle curiosity is an adaptive trait shaped by the need to gather information without exposing the animal to unnecessary risk. Unlike exploratory behaviors driven by novelty-seeking alone, feline curiosity is regulated by caution and energy efficiency. Curiosity in cats is initiated by sensory change. New scents, subtle movements, or unfamiliar objects trigger investigation. The response is typically slow and deliberate. Cats approach from an angle, pause frequently, and observe before making contact. This behavior allows continuous reassessment of safety. Olfactory investigation is often the first step. Cats rely heavily on scent to evaluate unfamiliar stimuli. Sniffing provides chemical information that helps determine whether an object is neutral, familiar, or potentially threatening. This process can occur repeatedly over time rather than all at once. Visual inspection follows, with attention focused on movement and shape. Cats maintain distance while watching for changes. If an object remains still and predictable, the cat's alertness decreases. If movement is detected, attention increases briefly before another pause. Physical interaction, if it occurs, is minimal. Cats may touch an object lightly with a paw or whiskers. These body parts are highly sensitive and allow information gathering without full exposure. The contact is often brief and followed by withdrawal. This pattern reflects a balance between information acquisition and risk management. Cats do not rush exploration. Their nervous system favors safety over speed. This reduces stress and prevents unnecessary activation of defensive responses. Curiosity is also influenced by environmental familiarity. In stable environments, cats are more likely to investigate minor changes because baseline safety is high. In unfamiliar or unstable settings, curiosity decreases as vigilance increases. This shift is adaptive rather than avoidant. Age affects exploratory behavior. Kittens exhibit higher levels of curiosity due to developmental learning needs and neuroplasticity. Adult cats remain curious, but apply stricter thresholds before investigation. Senior cats may explore less frequently, conserving energy and relying more on established knowledge. Play behavior is related to curiosity, but remains controlled. Cats engage in play that simulates hunting movements, often directed towards small, moving objects. These behaviors occur in short bursts and end abruptly once interest or energy declines. Cats demonstrate stillness as a functional biological state, rather than a passive absence of activity. Stillness in cats is the result of nervous system regulation, energy efficiency, and environmental familiarity. When conditions are safe and predictable, cats naturally reduce movement to conserve resources and maintain physiological balance. Neurologically, stillness corresponds with parasympathetic nervous system dominance. In this state, heart rate slows, breathing becomes regular, and muscle tone softens without collapsing. This allows the body to remain ready for movement while minimizing energy expenditure. Cats enter this state frequently throughout the day and night. Stillness in cats is supported by sensory filtering. When the environment is familiar, the feline brain reduces the processing of non-essential stimuli. Visual scanning decreases, auditory alertness lowers, and attention shifts inward toward bodily regulation. This reduction in sensory load allows extended periods of calm awareness. Posture plays a role in maintaining stillness. Cats adopt positions that distribute body weight evenly and minimize muscular effort. Curling, tucking limbs, or resting on supportive surfaces reduces strain on joints and muscles. These postures can be sustained for long durations without discomfort. Breathing during stillness is slow and shallow, but efficient. Oxygen exchange remains stable, supporting cellular processes without increased metabolic demand. This breathing pattern reflects a balanced physiological state optimized for rest and recovery. Stillness also supports thermoregulation. By limiting movement, cats reduce heat loss and maintain stable body temperature. Combined with fur insulation and compact posture, stillness helps preserve warmth without additional energy use. Behaviorally, stillness reduces risk. In the wild, unnecessary movement can attract attention. Even in domestic settings, the instinct to remain still when no action is required remains intact. This instinct contributes to calm behavior in secure environments. Stillness is not the absence of awareness. Cats remain perceptive while still, capable of responding quickly if conditions change. This state is sometimes described as relaxed alertness, combining rest with readiness. Neurological studies associate this balance with efficient sensory gating and motor control. Environmental consistency increases stillness. Familiar spaces, stable routines, and predictable sounds allow cats to remain motionless for longer periods. In contrast, unstable environments increase movement and vigilance, reducing stillness. Over time, repeated periods of stillness support long-term health. Reduced physical strain, balanced hormone levels, and efficient immune function are associated with adequate rest. Stillness allows internal systems to recalibrate without interruption. Age influences stillness patterns. Senior cats spend more time in still states as recovery needs increase. This shift reflects adaptation rather than decline. Younger cats alternate stillness with activity more frequently, but still rely on extended calm periods. From a factual perspective, stillness in cats is an integrated biological process involving neural regulation, posture, breathing, thermodynamics, and environmental assessment. It is not imposed or trained, but emerges naturally when safety is assured. Observing cats demonstrates that stillness is a skill shaped by evolution. By moving only when necessary and resting deeply when conditions allow, cats maintain balance, conserve energy, and support overall stability. This biological stillness represents the culmination of feline adaptation to safe environments and completes the cycle of calm that defines their daily